Orchestra. Glenn Dixon, clarinetist, and trombonist David Harris. Welcome. How are you?
All right.
Good, thank you.
The Klezmar Orchestra, the Klezmar movement is on the move here in the United States and around the world, no?
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about Klezmar music and how you got together to put the orchestra together, the two of you.
The music itself?
Yes, the music itself.
Just basically, klezmer music is the wedding and party music from Eastern European Jewish people that was brought over to this country around the turn of the century. And it's very lively and happy, fun music. And we've been playing, this band, Shiriim, has been playing this music for around 10 years. It's doing everything from its original function to playing weddings and all that.
Right.
But lately we've been doing a lot more recording and concerts and clubs.
You say Eastern European. Is that the root of the music, Eastern European? It really has an Arabic kind of flavor to me, the music itself. But are its roots Eastern European? Jewish?
Yeah. Well, you know, if you follow it, take it back far enough, you get to Eastern Europe. Yeah.
Okay.
But so that's definitely within the music, and some of the rhythms from the Middle East are in the music. It's sort of picked up different elements wherever it went, where Jewish people were living.
And then as they moved into Eastern Europe in the last like 500 years or so, and you see big influence from countries like Hungary and Romania, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Russia. The folk musics of those countries emerged when the Jewish people came in there, and they sort of borrowed and stole from those traditions and mixed Eastern European with Middle Eastern music, and so that's sort of how klezmer was born. It's sort of this mishmash of all different sort of styles, but you get this sort of gypsy kind of sound that's sort of mixed with this sort of Greek and sort of Middle Eastern beats.
So is it music that's been written down and passed on, or is it passed on just musically, like it's a feeling? You know, is there a klezmer jazz fake book? You know?
Only as of late. It's been largely an oral tradition where it's been passed on from musician to musician, just, you know, here, I'll play you this is how this goes, and then the next generation sort of goes on and on. But as there's been a resurgence of the music, now, you know, since about the 70s or so, there's been classically trained musicians that are, you know, in Western style music that are able to write down this music, and so we're seeing more of it written down and making it more accessible to a larger population.
And is the impetus to maintain the pure form of the music, or is it their movement to fuse it with other musics?
Both. I mean, there are people who are very much into reproducing exactly recordings that were made back in the 1920s and trying to get every single note right and playing it exactly the same way. And then there's other people who are continue to develop the music. Do what's always been, the music has always been a fusion of its current situation with the past, and so I would say we fall into that category of taking the traditional music and bringing it into the present and making it applicable to our lives.
Well, here on your second CD, Naftule's Dream, I see about maybe 8 out of the 12 compositions are original or traditional compositions, and the rest are original band compositions, right?
Yeah, that's true. We're writing new tunes, and although even the traditional ones that we're doing, a lot of them we've really recast them in a modern light. They might be traditional tunes, but we'll totally change the arrangement, not arbitrarily, but just in a way that feels right to us for what the song's about or whatever. So yeah, we do use traditional material a lot.
What value do you think that improvisation has on your music?
I think it's really big. Originally, this music didn't have an improvised section like we view jazz. There wasn't like someone playing, improvising a solo over chord changes and improvising in that sense. There was a high order of ornamentation, though, in which each individual soloist, as he's playing the melody, was allowed to add his interpretation by different flourishes, and every performance would be different, and so improvised in that manner, much like Baroque music is in that similar vein. And we're trying now, since we're products of the 90s, we're trying to incorporate jazz improvisation and other world beat type of improvisation into the music. It seems to lend itself to that, so we're trying to stretch it even that much farther, and maybe, expand the vocabulary a little bit.
Are vocalists a common feature of klezmer music?
What people call klezmer music now is actually a combination of two different traditions, or actually three traditions. Klezmer music 100 years ago was the instrumental wedding musicians, and but klezmer music now, to a large degree, incorporates a vocal tradition which goes back to folk songs, songs that people sang around their houses and at work, and also it incorporates the theater songs, which is a whole genre in itself. Yiddish theater started in the late 19th century, and it's another whole bag. So a klezmer band now is actually an incorporation of three different traditions.
That's beautiful. Where do klezmer musicians get together to have, are there klezmer jam sessions? Are there klezmer, I know there's a klezmer festival happening in New York, the Knitting Factory, but are there festivals around the world you get together and have, klezmer jams?
I think it's starting. I don't know about klezmer jam sessions
Not
yet.
in the same sense as
Jazz.
the old jazz jams or
Right.
the midnight hour, after hours jams.
Right.
It's not. There's not so much of that. There's a little of that, but it's less of that. I'd say.
But we are starting to see, as an interest in different type of ethnic music occurs, and we're seeing festivals that have broader scopes. Even jazz festivals are now incorporating quote-unquote world music.
Right.
Klezmer's becoming part of that, and so you're seeing in concerts throughout Europe, the United States, and Canada, we're starting to see klezmer come out as a performance, as a concert music, which is sort of new for this music. It was always a functional music. It was always, as Glenn said, it was a wedding. It was for celebrations. In its earlier stages, it was almost looked down upon as a lower art. Klezmer musicians, it was almost an insult to call a musician a klezmer. It meant he was untrained. And yet, actually, they were incredible artists. They just weren't necessarily always trained at the conservatories, but they were phenomenal artists. And now, the music has really changed, and people are beginning to understand that it's totally appropriate to have this on a concert stage, and at a bar mitzvah, and out on the street, and at a jazz club, on the Lower East Side or wherever, So it's expanding in its use. And there's now I think there's something on the order of 200 klezmer bands in the United States, and more breaking out in Europe and in Canada. And there's starting to be communication among people. People share their resources in terms of finding the old 78s, which is a lot of what the bands are basing the repertoire. We're listening to 78s recorded from like 1900 through like 1930, and a lot of the traditional repertoire is coming from those set of immigrants across over the ocean then and recorded in America.
This next tune is called Seams. It's another original. Seams as in the connections in your pants. Actually has profound philosophical implications, which I'm sure you will pick up as you listen to this. This is... Oh, I don't believe in puns, so just ignore that statement. This is actually, as many of the tunes, just so you know, off of our new album, which is, we're sort of celebrating our New York release of our new album, Naphtali's Dream, and this is one of the tunes on it, so, as many of the tunes we're playing tonight. Just thought I'd put that little plug in. This is called Seams.
For more than 40 years, Legal Shield has been revolutionizing the legal services industry. Revolutionizing the legal services industry? That doesn't quite capture the personal, lasting impact we have made and continue to make on thousands of individuals' lives. Imagine having an everyday concern or question where getting the advice of an attorney would be useful. Imagine the trauma of discovering that you are the victim of identity theft. Imagine encountering a situation where the advice of an attorney is absolutely imperative. Now imagine addressing all that stress with one phone call. That's what we do for you at Legal Shield. You can speak to an attorney without the worry of having to pay an attorney's typical fees. And together with our identity theft services, we provide you with a shield that results in powerful peace of mind. We were founded in 1972 by Harlan Stonecipher. He had just endured his own stressful, costly encounter with the legal system after a car accident that was not his fault. He was determined to make legal protection available to everyone, everywhere. Today, we have evolved into the force for good that Mr. Stonecipher originally envisioned. No matter what issue you might face, you're getting the help you need with Legal Shield. What we do is simple. We work hard to make your life less complicated, less stressful, and more fulfilling. That's why with Legal Shield, you can worry less and live more.
Oh, dear. Well, I don't know if you've ever heard of a town called Sevastopol, but it did exist, does exist, in the Crimea region of Russia. And this is a very interesting story. It deals with a number of issues. Number one, I guess, you could say, is anti-Semitism. Basically, the song says that you come towards Sevastopol via a little town, a little treasure of a station called Dziękuję, which, interestingly enough, in Polish also means thank you. That town was wiped out by the Nazis, no longer exists. But anyway, so in this town, you come upon a very interesting thing that people weren't accustomed to seeing. That was Jews doing labor, Jews doing really physical hard work, and loving being farmers. And one of the verses in the song says, oh my God, watch my brother Ablasha, how he uses that tractor. My God, it's as smooth as a train. You like that, huh? And then in the last verse it says, what? And what? And the last verse says, that, you know, if anybody says that, you know, Jews can only be handlers, you know, Jews can only be merchants and work with their minds. If anybody tells you that, they're an enemy. And if you see such a person, spit in his face. So, not that we advocate that. What's that? No spitting today. So, this isn't dedicated to anybody, but it's in honor of the late great farmers of Russia, I guess.
And Israel. And Israel.
And Israel.
Hi, I'm Jez Beasley. I'm the director of Petersburg Animal Welfare Society, and we're holding a low-cost spay-neuter clinic at the Crater Road Veterinary Hospital on the last Sunday of every month. We're doing this to prevent overpopulation and help our local shelters. We're open to the Tri-Cities area and anybody that needs us. In Petersburg, if you don't have a ride, the Petersburg Animal Shelter staff will come and pick up your animal and bring them. You can give us a call at 481-2565 if you're interested in scheduling an appointment at one of our upcoming clinics.